against the Los Angeles Angels. Now let's take a look at the lineup that Joe Madden has put out against Derek Holland today. The Rays lineup looks like this. It'll be Desmond Jennings, the center fielder, leading off. Sean Rodriguez is in left field. Evan Longoria is the DH today. Batting fourth, playing right field, Ben Zobrist. Shelley Duncan gets the start at first. Junel Escobar is the shortstop. Ryan Roberts, the local product from UTA, playing third base. Catcher Jose Lobaton, and Kelly Johnson bats ninth, plays second base.
We'll check the Budweiser scouting report on Derek Holland. Friday, the game you mentioned, Buzz, was against the Angels. 7 innings, 2 runs, only 1 walk and 5 strikeouts. Last 11 starts, 5-0, 3.75 ERA. Rangers have gone 9-2 in those 11 starts. Allowed at least 1 home run in 8 straight starts. Last year, the home run plagued Derek. He gave up over 30. This year, I think that number will be down. The changeup is going to help him a lot. He had a good changeup, good curveball, good slider, and a fastball anywhere from 92 to 94 miles an hour against the Angels. Good stuff that day, and hoping to repeat it again against Tampa Bay today.
And a pretty good day to pitch if you can get loose. Hitters not quite as aggressive when it's chilly like this.
They're not going to like that fastball in on the fist today very much. Of course, that guy right there can throw a fastball in on the fist too. Matt Moore's got great stuff. So the hitters are in for a tough day today. A challenging day. Not a tough day, but a challenge.
There you go.
Let's put it that way.
There you go. Well, Matt Moore finishing his warm-up toss is out there in left center field in the bullpen. And he and his entourage making their way into the Rays dugout. So we'll be delayed just a second as they clear the field. Jim Hickey, the pitching coach. Jose Lobaton, the catcher for Matt Moore. And Derek Holland on top of the hill. Into the wind. The first pitch of the afternoon is a fastball outside. It is 1-0 to Desmond Jennings. A couple of doubles last night for the fleet-footed center fielder of the Rays. 39 degrees at game time officially. And that pitch fouled back out of play to even the count. We'll find out exactly where it stands, where the 39 degrees stands, in coolest temperatures in the history of Rangers Ballpark in Arlington at the start. Got to be right up there among them. I can't remember too many games where.
I don't remember a game in the 30s.
No. 1-1 pitch. In the air, left center field, hit pretty well. Gentry going back to the track, reaches up and makes the grab as he bangs into the padding. Jennings gave it a good ride. And Gentry, with his great speed, able to track it down. 1 away.
And Derek got away with a hanging curveball. Hit it 400 feet. Not sure what the wind is doing to the baseball today. It's a cold day and it's right up against the wall out there. The home run that Derek gave up in the first game against the Angels was a hanging curveball. That one he got away with. Hit the deep part of the ballpark.
Here's Sean Rodriguez, and he looks at strike one. We've just been told this is the second coldest game here at Rangers Ballpark. Back in April of 2007 against the Red Sox. It was also 38 degrees.
Don't remember that one. Good pitch.
Just inside. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
He threw that one right where he wanted to. Fastball, changeup, and then a good fastball inside corner. Just missed a little bit. You can see Giovanni have to move his glove in just a notch.
Coming back in there again, and there's a fly ball hit pretty well to center. This one a little bit easier for Craig Gentry, and well shy of the warning track. And that's out number 2. A couple of pretty well hit balls to center, but Gentry patrolling the depths of center field here this afternoon, handles both of them. And now Evan Longoria will face left-hander Derek Holland. Longoria has had very good success against Holland. Those numbers will tell you. 3 home runs in his career against the Ranger left-hander. A .409 career hitter. Holland, a long look into Soto, the 1-0 pitch. A good changeup. A ball and a strike.
I think Derek, to all the American League hitters, will be a noticeably different pitcher this year if he continues to develop the changeup that he's thrown early in the season. It just gives him an entirely different look. Instead of fastball, breaking ball, it's fastball, breaking ball, and a nice changeup to go along with it.
Missed with that one to even the count at 2-2. Yeah, you're right, Tom, and it gives him 2 out pitches too, I think, other than the fastball. When he has a good fastball, that's a good out pitch for him. But normally you get a breaking ball by itself as an out pitch, and it's not nearly as effective as if you're able to mix in a changeup too. Got him swinging. Pretty good sequence there to Longoria. A punch out ends the first. Holland sends the Rays down in order. After a half inning, it's Tampa Bay 0. The Rangers coming up on Fox Sports Southwest. And now the Rangers coming up. And Fred Aloya Insurance will bring you the Rangers batting order this afternoon. Ian Kinsler leads off. Elvis Andrus is next. Adrian Beltre bats third today and plays third. DH is Nelly Cruz. He bats cleanup. David Murphy is in left field. Jeff Baker, the start in right field, batting sixth. Mitch Moreland's at first. Giovanni Soto catches and bats eighth. And the number 9 hitter, the center fielder, Greg Gentry.
And on the mound, Matt Moore for Tampa Bay. Friday against the Indians, an excellent start to his season, 6 shutout innings. 175 strikeouts, almost a strikeout per inning last year in his rookie year. Against the Rangers in the American League Division Series game, he was outstanding. Kind of a surprise, not a surprise start, but no one knew a whole lot about him. He'd just been called up from the minor leagues, one of the most highly touted young minor league pitchers, and he was the top of his game that day. He's got a really good changeup, mid-90s fastball occasionally, and a good hard curveball too. And really bright young pitching prospects in baseball.
Well, Matt Moore, the 23-year-old out of New Mexico, born in Fort Walton Beach, but grew up in New Mexico. And Kinsler shoots it foul to the right. The count remains no balls, 2 strikes. Well, Ian, again, just tearing the cover off the ball here at Rangers Ballpark in Arlington. That pitch just fouled away. That got a pretty good piece of home plate umpire Tim Welke, the crew chief.
Not the way Tim wanted to start the game today. He's got a lot of protection, but even though he's got padding on his shoulder, believe me, that still hurts.
Boy. Again, the 0-2 pitch. Check his swing on the breaking ball, and Kinsler now with a 1 ball and 2 strike count. Rest of the umpiring crew, we mentioned Wilkie, the crew chief behind the plate. Mike Everett, Marty Foster, and Scott Berry, first, second, and third, respectively. Moore back to the plate. Swung on and missed, and it got off Lobaton, but he's able to corral it And fire on to first. Kinsler retired. There's one away, and Elvis Andrus come to the plate. Take a look at the Tampa defense this afternoon behind Matt Moore. Rodriguez, Jennings, and Zobrist left, center, and right. Duncan, the start at first. Johnson and Escobar up the middle. Ryan Roberts is the third baseman today. Jose Lobaton behind the plate. And Matt Moore, the left-hander, on the mound. So Moore with a strikeout of Kinsler, and here's Elvis.
Moore in the minor leagues threw 500 innings and struck out 700 batters. And when he got to the big leagues, he continued that strikeout ability, almost a strikeout per inning. It's about half his strikeouts on fastballs, a quarter of them on changeups, a quarter of them on curveballs. So all three of his pitches are strikeout pitches. You can see that sharp breaking curveball that struck out Ian.
2-0 the count to Elvis.
A little bit prone to the base on balls last year. His walks per 9 innings were 4th highest in the American League. Good game plan is trying to make him throw strikes, make him throw a lot of pitches early in the game.
Now that's kind of being behind the 8 ball if you're a hitter against a young pitcher like Moore. You don't want to get behind him because he can put you away.
Yeah.
And yet you have to make him throw a lot of pitches because he can be wild. So
the tough one to lay off of is that belt high to chest high fastball.
Two to Andrus.
Last year among major league starters, his fastball was the 3rd highest average fastball velocity in baseball. David Price, Max Scherzer, the only ones that threw harder. Take that back. Jeff Smarja was the second one. We saw him in spring training, so that's not a surprise.
Here's that hard breaking ball, and it's low and inside. So Elvis has run the count full. He's trying to get aboard with 1 out. Here in the first inning, Adrian Beltre waiting in the on-deck circle. Payoff pitch for Moore. That's high, ball 4. Well, Elvis able to coax one of those walks that Tom was talking about. He's aboard, and here comes Adrian. Beltre stepping in, hitting just 188. A home run and 3 driven in, off to a slow start. And that's not terribly unusual for Beltre, who has been a fairly slow starter most of his career.
Well, there's several guys in the lineup that are going to start to get hot. When they do, the lineup's going to get even better. Beltre, Murphy, and Mitch Moreland. Mitch starting to heat up a little bit, but they're not going to be hitting below 200 for much longer. And Ranger fans have seen what Adrian can do when he gets hot, that's for sure.
See that little note there, the only current Ranger with a hit off Matt Moore, and that was a home run. The 0-1. Snap throw to first. And back standing is Elvis. Moore okays the sign, and the left-hander comes back to the plate. Off speed, going inside. It's 2-1. Well, the Rangers doing a pretty good job of making young Matt Moore throw a few pitches. He's up to 15 now. Making him work a little bit here in the early going. Check of Elvis at first base. And Beltre shoots one out of play to the right. I think Adrian thought he should have driven that ball. Likes that pitch out away from him when it's up a little bit, and that's where that last pitch was. Infield and outfield playing Beltre just about straight away. Moore a check of first. The left-hander is set. Pitch in the dirt. Out in front of the plate. A good read by Elvis. He's into second standing with no throw. Good anticipation by Andrus, and as soon as he saw that ball in the dirt off Lobaton, he was setting sail for second.
Lobaton does a nice job blocking that ball. He had no idea where that was going to hit him. He was just hoping he got as much body in front of it as he could.
Well, the wild pitch advances Elvis 90 feet. He's now in scoring position for Adrian Beltre. Beltre with the count of 3 balls and 2 strikes. Payoff pitch on the way, and that's out of play to the right. We'll come back and try it again. Rangers some timely hitting last night. Had 4 base hits with runners in scoring position in that 6-2 win, or 6-1 win. Call strike 3. Tim Welke bringing up Beltre. That fastball that came back just enough as far as Matt Moore was concerned. Caught the inside corner, and that's out number 2.
You can see number 7 and not quite as close as number 6. I think the telltale sign was Lobaton. Watch him bring his glove back toward the plate. That's usually a pretty good sign. The catcher, anyway, felt that ball was inside. Call goes Matt Moore's way.
The 2 gone, and here's Nelson Cruz. Fouled back to the screen. It's 0-1. Nelly at 387 off of that start we were talking about. 424 on base percentage. Breaking ball. That evens the count. Cruz hit safely in each of the first six games of the season. Had that stopped, and he got a base hit last night. 5 out of 6 against left-handed pitching in the early going of this year. One ball and 2 strikes. Elvis Andrus walked, advanced to second on a wild pitch. He is there with 2 outs and a count of 1-2 to Nelson Cruz. Got him on the fist, going to jam himself on the breaking ball. Johnson takes care of that, and the Rangers gone in the first inning. No runs, no hits. The Walker left stranded. We're going to the second. Rays and Rangers scoreless on Fox Sports Southwest. Derek Holland back to the mound. He'll face the middle third of the Rays order. And that means Ben Zobrist, the cleanup man, to start things off. Zobrist, Duncan, and Escobar. Zobrist, the switch hitter, up there from the right side, takes just low for ball 1. Zobrist off to a hot start. He's had pretty good success against Holland throughout his career. Good off-speed pitch. 1-1, and boy, Derek in the early going here has relied on that changeup quite a bit.
He's thrown almost every one of them for a strike.
Right center field, that is trouble. It's up the alley and going to go almost to the wall. Cut off by Baker at the track. And into second with a leadoff double is Ben Zobrist.
Zobrist got a fastball a little bit down, a little bit out over the plate. He drives it into the gap. Derek's trying to throw that ball a little bit more inside than that. But nice job of hitting by a good hitter.
Zobrist becomes the first base runner for the Rays this afternoon. Leadoff base hit, leadoff double, and here's Shelley Duncan. And a big rip on a Holland fastball, fouling it back for strike one. Duncan, the start here this afternoon. James Loney had gotten the start the first two games of the series against right-handed starters. There's Loney, a left-handed hitter, and Duncan up there from the right side of the plate against Holland. 0-1 pitch. Duncan so far this year 0 for 4 against left-handed pitching. Rangers over the years have handled him pretty well. Duncan most recently with the Cleveland Indians. The 1-1 from Holland. On the ground, knocked down by Beltre. It goes to Andrews. The throw not in time. It pulled Moreland off the bag in the dirt a bit. What an effort, though, by both Beltre and Elvis to make it that close. That's going to be a base hit.
Well, the good news is Zobrist stayed at second base. There's nowhere he could go. It looked like it was going to be a base hit to left field, which would have been a lot different. And if somehow Elvis could have thrown the ball accurately to first, they might have been able to get Duncan. But tough play. Not expecting the ball, number one. He's back on his heels and almost completes a nice play.
Well, Beltre almost came up with that on that dive. So 2 on, nobody out. Janel Escobar is the hitter. Rangers up at the corners expecting a bunt. And the first pitch from Holland is high and away for ball one. Escobar hitting at just 1 in 11. Couple of RBI for the 30-year-old shortstop. See Beltre and Moreland up in front of the cut of the grass. Both Kinsler and Andrews back at double play depth. Good fastball for a strike. The count is even to Escobar. Escobar 0 for 6 in the series. He does have a walk. He struck out better than a quarter of his at-bats this year. A bunt down the first baseline, and Moreland will make the tag on Escobar. He didn't really have an opportunity to let that ball roll further because it would have gotten by him, and that would have been dangerous. So the sacrifice advances both Longoria and Duncan in the scoring position. 1 out now, and Ryan Roberts will come to the plate.
It wasn't bunting on the first strike, but he lays down a successful bunt that time. Yeah, you can't wait to see on that. It looked like maybe it would go foul, but you don't know for sure.
Yeah.
Got to get the out while you can get it.
Rangers now with 1 out will play the infield back. Holland will work here from the stretch, and a ground ball right back to him. Nice play by Derek, and he fires one to first for the out. Good reactions by Holland.
That's a run if it gets by him. Derek does a nice job of fielding his position, saves him a run right there. Now if you can get Lobaton right here, you're going to get out of a second and third 1 out jam without giving up a run.
Pretty good job of base running too over there by Zobrist. Pretty easy for a base runner to figure that's going to get by the pitcher and head for home, and all of a sudden you caught no man's land, but he didn't. And Derek Holland rewarding himself with a nice play. So 2 outs. Jose Lobaton, also a switch hitter up there from the right side. Takes a knee-high strike. It's 0-1. Seems like a play like that has been the story of this series for the Rangers. They have made the plays, good reactions, and it's really saved them a lot against the Rays in the first 2 games. Up the middle, Elvis going to his left, able to snag it at shoe top level. But Derek Holland works around a pretty sticky situation. He is out of it. No runs, 2 hits, and 2 left. No score at the end of 1.5. Let's welcome in Jim Knox. Jim.
All right, thank you, Buzz. Texas Ranger fans busting out the hot chocolate and the blankets on a day like this, but still having a great time. Community Corner this afternoon. Texas Rangers Baseball Foundation once again providing grants to nonprofit organizations for those who want to participate in youth baseball or softball. To find out more, log on to texasrangers.com/foundation. Yeah.
All right, Jim, thank you. A lot of the good work done by the Ranger Foundation. Yeah, David Murphy lost a fly ball to left field. Rodriguez moving toward the line a bit, makes the grab, and Murph on 1 pitch is retired. 1 away for Jeff Baker. The Rangers made Matt Moore use 23 pitches to get through the first inning. He's able to get Murphy on just 1 pitch. Now Baker will step in. Jeff, only 1 at bat this year. That was a pinch hitting appearance. He is 0 for 1 after having a great spring. 1 ball, no strikes.
Well, Jeff's a veteran guy, and he knows how to get ready. Not going to be playing every day, but you have to be ready when you get your shot. So he gets his first start of the year. It's 38 degrees, and he's facing Matt Moore. That's not a real easy assignment.
Baker in spring training, a .419 average, 27 games. And he won the utility spot as far as being able to play both corners in the infield and also the corner outfield positions. And the heat wave has finally hit. It's up to 39 now. We're in good shape. As long as we keep the ice off the field, we'll be all right. Pitch high and away, and Baker now has worked a 3-1 count.
That's definitely a pitch you have to lay off. It was very difficult with this kid to hit that high fastball with any authority. And most of them are balls.
And ball 4. Good job by Baker. He draws the 1-out walk. Second straight inning that the Rangers have gotten a walk with 1 out. And Mitch Moreland now will try and do something with it. Well, here's today's AT&T Twitter poll. See what guys have come up with today on this chilly afternoon. Who has the most postseason wins? A little bit of Ranger trivia for you. Ranger history. You got 3 choices. First of all, it's hashtag FS Derek Holland, or hashtag FS Colby Lewis, or how about hashtag FS Cliff Lee. Most postseason wins in Ranger history. We'll go to Twitter and pick your answer. We'll give you the results later on in the ballgame. Mitch Moreland up there, count of no balls and a strike. Moreland hitting at 214. Plays off the breaking ball. That evens the count. Mitch, the 2 home runs, 3 driven in. Checking with Gary Pettis down there at third. See if Ron Washington might have something in mind for Moreland and Jeff Baker, the runner at first. Inside, 2-1. And we talked last night about Moreland extending his hitting streak, but also about difficulty of putting on a hit and run with a guy on the mound last night, Roberto Hernandez, who did not throw consistent strikes. And same thing applies to Matt Moore. Check swing and a foul tip. Mitch got the raw end of that deal as the ball glancing off his bat for a strike. He was trying to get out of the way. But Matt Moore, not a real consistent strike thrower, so it's tough to pick a spot to put on a hit and run. Freddie might not come anywhere close to home plate.
And he gets a lot of swings and misses when he does throw strikes.
Yeah. Moreland pops it up on the third base side, foul territory. I had Roberts over there, but that ball back in the second row. We'll come back and try it again.
He had the second highest swing and miss percentage in the American League last year. Only Max Scherzer had a higher percentage. He and Yu Darvish were tied, just a tick ahead of Justin Verlander.
Moore with a new baseball. Gets the sign he wants. And Moreland gone on strikes. Pretty good fastball down and away. That is strikeout number 3 for Matt Moore. 2 away. And Giovanni Soto coming up. Soto getting his second start of the year here today. 1 for 3 in his first outing. Chance this afternoon to handle Derek Holland in his first start here at home. That pitch up and away for ball 1. Giovanni started the game against the Angels here on Sunday and had a double in 3 trips to the plate. Ball 2 is a bit low. And now Lobaton going to go out and have a chat with Matt Moore. Rangers winners of 3 straight. They are 6-2, tied with Oakland for the top spot in the American League West. They're also tied with Oakland for the best record in the American League. Only the Atlanta Braves in all of baseball have a better record. They are 7-1 down in Atlanta. Brief conference concluded, and now Moore ready to go back to work. Check swing, 3 balls, no strikes. Soto with 2 outs here in the second inning, trying to get aboard. Craig Gentry waiting in the on-deck circle, hoping for a chance to swing the bat against Moore here in inning number 2. 3-1. Moore back to the plate. Good rip by Giovanni and fouled it straight back. So the count has gone full now with 2 outs. Jeff Baker will be off and moving with the next pitch. Rangers able to use that advantage last night. Score a run on a single. A line drive hit to left field. Coming on very quickly is Rodriguez. And makes the grab. So the Rangers gone in the second. No runs. The Walker left stranded. No hits. On to the third. Scoreless in Arlington. Junior Rangers Club. That's presented by Dr. Pepper for only $20. Junior Rangers receive a sports duffel bag, a Rangers cap, ticket vouchers and coupons, and front-of-the-line access to run the bases after Sunday afternoon games. Sign up at TexasRangers.com.
Parents are letting the kids sit on their laps today to stay warm.
Here's Kelly Johnson, the number 9 man in the Rays order this afternoon. Derek Holland missing just off the plate, and the count moves to 2-0. Minimal exposure, Kelly Johnson to Derek Holland, 1 for 3 in his career. And ball 3 drifts outside. Holland gave up 2 hits to begin the second inning, worked around a first and second no out and a second and third 1 out situation without giving up anything. 3-0 pitch right down the middle. Day like today, boy, you always have to make sure you're fully loose before the inning starts. Breaking ball is low, ball 4. So Holland on a 3-1 pitch misses with a breaking ball, and the leadoff man is aboard. Time for a Mazda game break. Here's John Radigan. John? All right, John, thank you. The leadoff walk takes the Rays now back to the top of the order. And Desmond Jennings. Jennings sent Craig Gentry back to the padding in deepest left center field to haul down his shot in the first inning. Johnson with pretty good speed at first. Holland back to the plate. And that just a little bit inside. It's 1-1.
Yeah, Johnson's the only left-hand hitter in the lineup today, batting 9th. Derek ended up walking him on a 3-1 curveball.
I'm not really sure what that was all about.
Showing a little bit of respect.
Yeah. A ball and 2 strikes now to Jennings. Rangers looking for that double play ground ball. Kinsler and Andrews up the middle in a step. Call strike 3, and Jennings knew it.
Jennings is a good fastball hitter. He likes to hit a fastball early in the count, but Derek got 2 strikes on him with 2 changeups, and then he popped the fastball. A fastball he might have been ready for early in the count, but he definitely wasn't ready late in the count after seeing his changeup.
It's one where Jennings looked like he started to swing and said, "Oh darn, I missed it."
Yep, nothing he could do.
Nope, missed my chance. Now that is a big out, number 1. Second strikeout for Derek Holland, and John Rodriguez a swinging strike. 0-1 the count. Rodriguez a fly ball to center field in the first inning. Holland sets a check of first, and now time called. Rodriguez 0 for 6 this year against left-handed pitching. Good changeup from Holland, and it's 0-2. Rodriguez came on as a pinch hitter last night. Went 0 for 1 total, and he is 1 for 3 for the series. Pretty good breaking ball, and checked his swing. That makes it a ball and 2 strikes. Rodriguez, an infielder by trade, but very versatile. He's playing the outfield today, and Rays have found a way to move him around to get him in the lineup. The 1-2 pitch from Holland. That evens the count. Holland planting that left foot in front of the pitching rubber. as the sign he wants from Soto. And Rodriguez fouls the fastball out of play. Two balls and two strikes to Sean Rodriguez. Kelly Johnson, the runner at first. Lead-off walk. He's there 1 out later. Just missed. Pretty good breaking ball, and Rodriguez took it because he couldn't hit it.
Well, I was going to say, I don't know why he took it, but that's exactly why he took it. That thing wasn't even close to being a ball.
Nope. Well, with a full count, we'll see if Kelly Johnson's off and moving. He's staying put. And the pitch up and in, ball 4. And that puts 2 men aboard with 1 out. Evan Longoria coming up.
You got the tough part of the lineup now. A couple of walks. One of them, Rodriguez, could have been a strikeout. Didn't go his way. But 2 walks sets up opportunities for the middle of the lineup now. Struck out Longoria the first time on a hard breaking ball. Looking for a ground ball right here. Pitched out of a big jam last inning. 2nd and 3rd and 1 out. 1st and 2nd with their best hitters up now.
First pitch to Longoria. Off speed and outside, ball 1. Longoria, the only hitter in the major leagues with at least 10 hits that doesn't have an extra base hit. Ball 2 is low. Back-to-back changeups, and Holland now behind in the count to Longoria. .35% of the team's hits coming from the combination of Longoria and Zobrist. Holland's 2-0. Another off-speed pitch, and he had Longoria thinking fastball, swinging fastball, but not getting the fastball. Two and 1. A good fastball up and in, and Longoria fouls it away to the right.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about with the changeup. You throw the changeup in a fastball count, or a breaking ball in a fastball count, not looking for it. But after seeing that, now you're not ready for the fastball. You got that fastball in on him. Throw that same fastball on the 2-0 pitch, and chances are it would have been a pretty good swing.
Holland to check of the runners. The 2-2. Oh, a nice job by Soto to block that breaking ball that was bouncing well out in front of home plate. Tough pitch for any catcher to block it. Soto did it very well. Got that body right in front of it and bent the upper part of his body forward a bit, so the ball dropped right down. Well, the count is full. Holland facing Evan Longoria with runners at 1st and 2nd. Left-handers ready. Payoff pitch. Check swing. He did not go. It's ball 4. And Holland has walked the bases loaded. Eddie Hawkins making this trip out to the mound.
Andy's usually down in the bullpen, so evidently there's some reason why Mike is not in the dugout right now. Last night in the ball game, Nick Tepish had an inning where he walked 3 batters in an inning, was able to pitch out of that jam. Derek can do it right here.
Yeah, that was in Tepish's 2nd inning last night. I guess the big difference is that after he walked the bases full with 2 outs, Tepish had to face Kelly Johnson and got the strikeout. Now Derek Holland, after walking the bases full with 1 out, will have to face Ben Zobrist.
Yeah, I think the one pitch I think Derek would want to go back and change is the 3-1 breaking ball that walked Kelly Johnson. Only left-hand hitter in the lineup, batting 9th to start the inning.
Yep.
That's the walk you definitely don't want to have to lead off an inning.
Zobrist doubled to right center his first time, and Holland able to get an off-speed pitch in there for strike one. Pretty good production with the bases full, although the Rays have had a tough time hitting with the bases full this year. And again, Soto going down to block that ball. Tampa Bay 0 for 10. Do have 2 walks though, but with the bases loaded in 2013, they go back to last September. They're 0 for the last 12. Beltre to second. The return throw not in time, and Zobrist able to get the run across. Almost able to turn it. That ball hit deeply enough to third, but the throw by Beltre, even though it was on the money and as quick as he possibly could get it there, just took a little too much time. So the Rays take a 1-0 lead.
He wasn't able to charge the ball. It took one big hop that he had to lay back on. Otherwise, it would have been a short hop. And once he had to play the hop that way, not much they could do to turn 2.
So Zobrist with the fielder's choice ground out drives in his 9th run of the year. Tampa, as they did yesterday, taking a 1-0 lead. And the first pitch to Shelley Duncan is popped foul behind home plate. It is no balls and a strike. So 3 walks in the inning. Derek Holland trying to minimize the damage. Duncan had a single off the glove of Adrian Beltre his first time up. Rodriguez at third. Zobrist at first. And a good fastball to the inside corner. Makes it 0-2. Holland okays the sign. The left-hander is ready. Toss to first, and Rodriguez really coming hard down the line when he saw Holland going to first. Moreland, though, not caught unaware. He caught the ball, and Mitch caught the ball at first base, and he was stepping to make a throw. He was going to be aggressive with it. The 0-2 pitch. Got him swinging. Well, Holland gets the strikeout. He does minimize the damage. The Rays come up with a run on 3 walks and an infield out. Bottom of the 3rd coming up. Tampa Bay leading 1-0. is brought to you by Ford. Take the EcoBoost Challenge at your Texas Ford dealer. Ford is the best in Texas. And by Jack in the Box. Try the new Hot Mess Burger. It's loaded with spicy jalapenos, onion rings, and gooey pepper jack cheese. Crowd utilizing varied warming instruments. It's a good idea. That blanket, that Rangers blanket out here. 1-0 Tampa Bay as we head to the bottom of the third inning. And Craig Gentry starting things off. Takes a strike from Matt Moore. Gentry, the number 9 man on the order today. Off to a good start is Craig, hitting an even 300. Pops the next pitch up. Shallow left center field. And Desmond Jennings, the center fielder, over to make the grab. That is out number 1. And let's head down to say hello again to Emily Jones.
Well, fellas, as you saw Andy Hawkins making that last trip to the mound to visit Derek Holland, apparently a dental issue for Mike Maddox as a crown fell off. He is at the dentist before this team hits the road, guys.
All right, Emily, that answers that question. Thank you very much.
Yeah, that's probably why, because we're leaving. Had to get it done today.
Yep.
Might not have been able to get it done.
I'm not sure I'd want to try and fly with a bad tooth anyway. Isn't that one of those deals that gets worse when you get up in an airplane?
Yeah, I don't know.
Ian Kinsler taking ball 1. Ian went down on strikes back in the first inning. Rangers still looking for their first hit of the afternoon. Moore back to Kinsler. Fires a strike. And it's 2-1. Ian up among the league leaders in a lot of offensive categories. Fouls that one off to the right. Started play today 7th in home runs with the 3 that he has. And 6th in RBI. He's the team leader still with 8 in that category. Also up among the top 10 in runs scored and multi-hit games. The 2-2 pitch to third. Ryan Roberts. Throw across, Duncan off the bag, but makes the tag of Kinsler going by. That is out number 2. And let's say hello to Jim Knox again. Jim.
Here at the new Pro Shop right behind home plate, they have everything here. Men and women's shirts. They have pink for the ladies, also golf attire. Don't forget the Rangers bag right there. Some of the best items, the hats, exclusively here at the ballpark. Of course, here on a day like this hat is perfect, as well as blankets. Buzz?
Yeah, I'll take one of each. Thanks, Jim.
I saw a fan with one of those on today.
Base is empty. 2 away. Elvis takes a little bit high for ball 1. Andrews threw a walk back in the first inning. Rangers have had 2 base runners today, both via the walk. There's a strike to even things. Elvis, a -2 game hitting streak going. 2-1. Cover up your face. Get that cool wind out of there. 3 balls and a strike to Elvis. Andrews trying to get aboard with 2 outs. He's hitting in front of Adrian Beltre, who's waiting in the on-deck circle. Adrian going with a short sleeve look today. Inside, ball 4. And Andrews draws his 2nd straight walk. Well, Matt Moore has walked 1 hitter in each of his first 3 innings.
Both Adrian and Nelly going the short sleeve today. Hasn't gotten up to 40 degrees yet, so it's a cold day to be dressed like that.
Beltre called out on strikes back in the first inning. Adrian now 4 for 20 on this opening their season opening homestand. Takes outside for ball one. Each of his last 3 hits, as you see, in for extra bases. Oh, the Ranger Gold Glove and Platinum Glove third baseman. Ball 2. Andrews stepping off a lead at first. Now a snap throw over there. And back with a dive is Elvis. Moore nods in agreement. The left-hander's ready to work. A calling card again for Elvis. Now the 2-0. And ball 3.
Got 2 quick outs. Haven't been able to throw much in the way of strikes since then. Long's got Derek in trouble last inning. Top half of this inning.
Rio pitches high, ball 4. And a 4-pitch pass puts 2 aboard for Nelson Cruz. Now Jim Hickey going to go out and see if he can calm his left-hander down just a little bit. Well, Tom, you mentioned that it was the base on balls is really the rough spot that Matt Moore had to work over. I'll go back to that in just a second. I want to give the folks a quick reminder that Sunday, April 21st, Rangers taking on the Mariners at 2:05 at the ballpark. First 10,000 kids 13 and under receive an Adrian Beltre t-shirt, and that's compliments of tickets.com. And it's Bluebell Ice Cream Sunday, so all kids enjoy a $1 ice cream at the game. For tickets, call 972 Rangers. So we were talking about you were talking about Matt Moore. The only real weak spot he had was the base on balls, and he finds a way to conquer that. But how many times we say that about young pitchers too? I mean, that seems like all young pitchers that come up have, if they have a weak spot, it's that.
Well, last year Moore threw about 17 pitches per inning. That was the 3rd most pitches per inning in the American League. He had 31 starts, but he only had 177 innings, and that was the reason why. He threw a lot of pitches and didn't pitch deep into ball games. Not easy to hit, though. He only gave up 158 hits in 177 innings. Today, the Rangers haven't had a hit yet, but they've had 4 base runners.
Moore able to get the first pitch of the last 9 in the strike zone to Nelly Cruz. 1-1. Rip and a miss. And Cruz now down in a little bit of a hole. A ball and 2 strikes. Cruz back in there, hitting out of that wide open stance. Moore has the sign he wants. The left-hander's ready. Out of play, off to the right side. Moore about ready to throw his 62nd pitch. We're in the 3rd inning with 2 outs.
Good swing at
straight
that
back. Yes, he did. Lobaton had that target set inside, and Moore let it drift back out over the plate. That's the danger area. We'll try it again at 1-2. Count evens.
The Rangers in the first 2 games of this series have done a good job when they've had opportunities picking up runs, moving base runners. They did that yesterday. A lot of infield ground balls, infield hits. And when they had their opportunities, they cashed in frequently yesterday.
And a grounder out to short. The short way to second for the force out And that'll do it. So the Rangers get 2 more walks but can't capitalize. They strand 2. We finished 3. It's the Rays 1, the Rangers nothing on Fox Sports Southwest. Southwest at Captain Morgan Club. That's inside Rangers Ballpark. Next Tuesday, watch the Rangers take on the Chicago Cubs from Wrigley Field. Doors open at 5:30. Parking is free and there's no ticket necessary. Fox Sports Southwest Rangers Live Watch Party. And you won't want to miss this. Well, Mike Maddox back on the Ranger bench. Apparently got his crown taken care of. And Derek Holland to work here in the 4th inning. Yunel Escobar, the first hitter. And count moves to a ball and a strike to Escobar.
I can tell it's cold when you look down in the bullpens. You don't see anybody in Tampa's bullpen. Ouch.
Elvis throws out his counterpart. And Escobar will go back and see if he can find all 10 of his fingers there.
Only a couple of guys down in the Ranger bullpen. They're headed for warm territory till they have to warm up today. Got Andy Hawkins back down in the bullpen. He was in the dugout until Mike got back. Yeah, I think that's Josh Frazier.
Yep.
Couldn't tell with the hood on. No players though.
Ryan Roberts takes strike 1. Roberts, a teammate of Hunter Pence over at UTA. Texas Arlington. They were both star players there. The third and by the dive of Beltre into left field. So Roberts with a base hit. He's aboard with 1 out for Jose Lobaton. One on, 1 out. Lobaton. A line drive to Elvis at shortstop. His first time up. Roberts with good speed at first, and the fastball hits the inside corner. It is strike 1. Holland okays the sign. And a looper down the right field line. It is slicing and going foul by just a few feet. You know, Lobaton kind of mishit it off the end of the bat, but almost got it into difficult area of the ballpark for the Rangers. Derek Holland Waiting now for Jeff Baker to get back in his position in right field. He's back there, and we're set to go. 0-2, the count to Lobaton. Shot foul. We'll come back and try it again.
We're talking about the Astros last night. They hit 5 home runs in Seattle. Turned Seattle into a bandbox last night. Looking at the scores.
I know they moved the fences in Seattle.
Yes, it must be paying huge dividends for the hitters, boy.
Beltre to second, and that's all they're going to get. The ball just chopped too slowly to third to get any more out of it. They do get the lead runner Roberts on the force play. And with 2 outs now, Kelly Johnson will come to the plate.
Jam Lobaton. Adrian flips for 1 out.
Now Holland facing Kelly Johnson. Johnson drew a walk to lead off last inning and came around to score the only run of this game. As Tom mentioned, the only left-handed hitter in the lineup for Tampa. Here's a little weak roller out to Kinsler. He in sidearms one to first. That'll do it. Well, for Tampa in the 4th inning. No runs, a hit. They strand 1. Bottom of the 4th coming up. Rangers trailing 1-0. At 10 a.m. right here on Fox Sports Southwest for Chevy Hometown Kids. It's not about the score, it's about the experience. And the experience a little bit on the cool side for the kids out here today. And the grown-ups, as a matter of fact. Rays leading 1-0 as they come to bat. The Rangers come to bat in the bottom of the 4th inning. Matt Moore back to the hill. Moore is not allowed a hit. The Ranger hitters this afternoon, he's walked 4, so the Rangers have had base runners in every inning. Just have not been able to get the timely base hit to cash in. David Murphy will start things off. Jeff Baker and Mitch Moreland to follow. Murphy a fly ball to left on the first pitch that he saw in the 2nd inning. And a little bit low, Moore missing with ball 1. There's a strike to even things out. Breaking ball looped towards shortstop right there. You know, Escobar. That is out number 1. As a hitter, Tom, which hurt worse, getting jammed or getting one off the end of the bat on a cold day?
You know, it was close. I think actually one off the end of the bat hurt just
really?
as much. Yeah, maybe more. I'd like to see what it is with the bats they use today, the way they break in half. Haven't seen as many of them this year though, breaking in half.
No, you're right.
You know, there was in past years, I don't think there was a game where you didn't see 2 or 3 bats flying through the air, but I can't remember seeing any so far this year. I don't know if they've done something different to the bats, but I'm thinking that the way those bats broke in half probably didn't hurt the hands as much as it did in the old days, because those bats didn't break. And when they didn't break, they vibrated. If it breaks right in half, you don't get that. I don't think you get that same feel.
Baker takes the pitch low and outside. It's 2-1.
Somebody ought to check on as far as I know we talked about the Louisville Sluggers the other night. The new Louisville Sluggers, supposedly a much harder wood, the hardest wood of any bat maker right now. And they've done a lot of studies. They've talked about it. They've, I'm sure, tried to come up with some ideas on how to combat the way those bats are flying through the air so that a player doesn't get hurt, and probably more often a fan doesn't get hurt. Those things used to sail into the stands so frequently. But we haven't seen them this year. I don't remember seeing a bat break in half yet.
And the strike fills the count out to Jeff Baker. The only one that sticks out in my mind, Nelly Cruz had the barrel break in half, worked down the length of the bat, did it, in Houston. But still, that wasn't the kind you're talking about, where the bat just comes apart in 2 separate pieces.
Yeah.
Rip and a miss, and down on strikes is Baker.
I guess there was one that went toward Mitch Moreland, a ground ball in Houston. Remember when Mitch had to get out of the way? And,
yeah, I do.
And Ian kind of had to get out of the way. That was one, but not quite the same frequency.
4 strikeouts now for Moore. And he's retired the first 2 here in the 4th. Mitch Moreland to the plate. Mitch, a strikeout victim, back in the 2nd. Moreland working on a 4-game hitting streak as he looks at strike 1. It's 6 for 15 over those 4 games. And another breaking ball drops in. 0-2. Out of play to the left, and we'll try it again. Remember, Moreland began the season 0 for 13, but he's turned it on in this homestand. 6 for 20 here in the friendly confines of Rangers ballpark. That pitch low and outside, and the count moves to a 1-2. Moore back to the plate. Little nubber will go foul down the third base side.
A nice one to keep fair. Get
Yeah.
yourself a base hit. They've got the shift on, and third baseman is all the way over at shortstop and back. Almost on. In fact, he is on the grass in left field.
Hit one down there by the bag at third. He might be able to get a double.
Yeah, if you get it into the outfield grass, you have a real good shot.
And Moreland swinging through that foul, tips it into the glove of Lobaton. So back-to-back strikeouts for Moore. And after 4 complete, it's the Rays 1, the Rangers nothing on Fox Sports Southwest.
For the game, the Fox Sports Southwest Fan Express, the first time this season coming out to the ballpark. On hand, plenty of great fans, Ranger fans enjoying the game. Also the Ticket Chicks, 1310 the ticket, courtesy of those guys. Also the Fox Sports Southwest girls, Kami and Liddy. And all these fans on hand having a good time. Jeff, how was the ride?
Great ride. The bus was everything. All the comforts of home, food and drinks.
Anything missing? Anything we can improve on?
Maybe Mike and Corby next time should ride along.
There we go, Mike and Corby. There you go. All right, appreciate it, guys. Enjoy the rest of the game. Thanks. A little shout out to Mike and Corby there for you. All right, appreciate it, Jeff.
Okay.
Oh, goodness. A ball and a strike the count as Holland is working to Desmond Jennings starting off the 5th inning for the Rays. Tampa Bay on top, 1-0. And to right center field. That is going to be down and going to the wall as Baker plays the carom. Jennings thought about going for 3 but put the brakes on. He instead will settle for a leadoff 2-bagger. Well, again, much like the 2nd inning for Tampa Bay, the leadoff double gets Derek Holland in a bit of a spot.
He hit almost the same pitch that Zobrist hit and almost the exact same spot that Zobrist hit it. Fastball down and out over the plate, drove it hard into the gap.
Now Holland going to have to do a little work to prevent any damage in this inning. You got the top 3 and 4 hitters coming up on this Tampa Bay club. John Rodriguez, who handles the bat well, 0 for 1 today with a walk. Trying to at least get the runner over to third, and he takes a strike. Joining us as always in the 5th inning, Mark McLemore, co-host of Rangers Live. Mac, thanks for coming up here, making your way up to the chili booth up here.
This is a booth? I thought we were outside.
Yeah. We were until we opened the windows.
Wow.
You didn't think you needed a jacket when you left home today, did you, Mac?
Did not. I knew it was going to be cold. Man. But only in Texas do you get this kind of weather.
Yeah. It's still 39 degrees. Hasn't gotten up above 40 all day.
You get an 81 day here in a day like this. 0-2 the count. Holland going for a big strikeout. Almost gets it with a breaking ball. A ball and 2 strikes. Rodriguez, a fly ball to center, back in the 1st. Walked and got as far as third base in the 3rd. And Holland, a little inside move. Derek Holland and Matt Moore, 2 guys that probably are not the favorite kind of pitchers that you guys would like to face on a day like this. Able to throw that fastball in on your fist. Got that little change up to go with it, hit off the end of the bat.
This is a day for a knuckleballer. That's who I'd like to see on a day like this.
Yeah, those hard sinker ballers aren't fun on a day like this either.
Oof. Those guys are tough enough on warm days.
Yeah, no kidding.
Two balls and 2 strikes to count.
Tom, what'd you do in your days when you had days like this? Did you do anything extra to try to get rid of the cold? Or
you know, I was telling Buzz before the game. Moves the run over with an out. The one thing that I had the benefit of doing a lot was DHing. And you know, a lot of times you say you don't really like to DH. You want to play. You don't feel like a full-time player when you're DHing. But on days like this, when it was damp, say in Chicago or Detroit, in those old fields, being DH was pretty good. I just stayed upstairs and stayed warm the best I could. But, you know, I think you played in the cold, Mac. I think once you get into the game and once you get out there playing, it's not too bad.
No.
But today the wind's not terrible. I think once you warm up, it's okay. Heck, you look at Beltre and Cruz, they don't even have long sleeves on.
Now that I've never understood.
Yeah.
I've never understood guys that go out there when it's cold. No. I had to have sleeves.
Yeah.
Even when it was warm, I still wore sleeves a lot of times.
You always had some kind of a heater on the bench, hot water bottle or something to keep your hands warm.
1 ball, no strikes to count. Evan Longoria, the hitter. And he skies one to right field. This plenty deep enough to score the run. Baker the catch right on the warning track, and Jennings tags the third. He will cross home plate, and the Rays, on the strength of Longoria's sacrifice fly, take a 2-0 lead. Longoria driving in his 3rd run of the season with that sac fly.
One thing he definitely did, though, when you're in the field is you encourage your pitcher to work quickly, throw strikes, and let's get back in the dugout as fast as we can.
Ben Zobrist 1 for 2 with a double. Had an RBI last time up on a ground out. 1 ball, no strikes. Zobrist, the Rays leader with those 9 RBI. Holland able to drop in that big hook, and the count is even at 1-1. Chopper Beltre backing up a bit. Sidearms it in the dirt. It gets by and into the photographer well. But down to second will go Zobrist on the error by Adrian Beltre.
Yeah, that's a rare one. Don't see him make a bad throw very often. What do you do on that, Mac?
Well, he just looked like he short-armed it a little bit. Normally, when he gets this ball, he sidearms it and whips it across pretty good. But it just didn't look like he looked like he short-armed it a little bit there. Didn't follow through like he normally does. He's got it. He's got himself in good position. Just looked like he short-armed it a little bit. Didn't follow all the way through, and that could be because it's cold out.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, the first error of the ball game charged to the Rangers, or either ball club for that matter. Now Shelley Duncan to the plate, and he takes ball 1. The Rangers in the season, that their 4th error. They came in right in the middle of the pack fielding wise in the American League. Duncan, an infield single and a strikeout. He hammers this to left field. Murphy going back, and the ball settling in a little bit to him, and Murphy makes the grab. That'll do it. But Tampa comes up with another run on a hit, an error, and 1 man left. Halfway through the ball game, the Rays 2, the Rangers nothing. Fox Sports Southwest. Folks in the stands doing a little bit to keep themselves warm. 2-0. Rays leading the Rangers here this afternoon as Texas comes to bat in the bottom of the 5th inning, I should say. Giovanni Soto, Craig Gentry, and Ian Kinsler, the first 3 Rangers to do swinging against Matt Moore.
One of the few days where Ranger captain's comfortable at the ballpark. He's glad to have that outfit on today.
Yeah. Soto, one of the few balls the Rangers have really squared up this afternoon, lined out to left field in the 2nd inning.
Yeah, that's the only one that's come close to being hit hard.
Matt Moore has been tough this afternoon. He's been a little bit erratic. Walked 4, but he has struck out 5. Has yet to allow a base hit to the Rangers. And falling behind here to Soto at 2 balls, no strikes. Skied to right field. And Zobrist having the wind play some tricks with that. That ball was high enough to where it was carried out to right center a little bit, but Zobrist stayed with it nicely for out number 1. Time for a Mazda game break. Here's John Radigan. All right, John, thank you. 1 out here in the Ranger 5th inning, and Craig Gentry takes ball 1 with a breaking ball. Gentry, fly ball to center as he led off the Ranger 3rd. Going after the high fastball, and that's fouled out of play, 1-1. Well, I guess, Mac, if anything, a day like today will get the Rangers ready for this upcoming road trip going to Seattle and Chicago, huh?
This is definitely Seattle weather and Chicago weather.
That pitch way inside. It had to be a little tough coming out of spring training and going to Seattle this time of year and playing there all the time.
It was. You know, you leave Arizona, and, you know, the nice 85-degree weather every day, and then all of a sudden you're in 40-degree weather.
Yeah.
You know, the good thing about it was there was a roof on top. No sides,
right,
but a roof.
Yeah, you wouldn't get wet. You just freeze.
You would just freeze.
And that. Oh, we made it to 40. There we go.
Let's take the jackets off.
Yeah.
There we go. Yeah, there we go.
All the, get. Now, it's going to have to get a little bit warmer before I take this stuff off.
Next time I take mine off, I'm going to be sitting on the plane today.
Yeah. Probably a good idea. 2-2 to Gentry. Check swing, breaking ball, low and inside. The count is full. Well, Craig trying to get aboard with 1 out here in the 5th. Ian Kinsler in the top of the order will be next. I guess guys take so many precautions today, though, coming out of warm weather into the cold, all the stretching and stuff. That seemed to help. I know there was more attention paid for it. There's the first Ranger hit of the afternoon, a solid smash to right center by Gentry.
Well, that's hardest hit ball of the day, even harder than the one Giovanni hit. Hey, you got the right guy on to lead to the leadoff base runner here. 1 out here in the inning. Speed on top of the order coming up.
Well, I was going to say, Seattle was one of the first teams I remember that really focused a lot on stretching before ball games early in the year. I remember seeing them do it all the time. And that seemed to help them out as far as injuries were concerned.
You definitely have to stretch, especially in cold weather, and you've got to continually do it throughout the course of the game. Because, you know, baseball is a static game. You're standing around most of the time, not moving. And then all of a sudden, you've got to spring into action, and you've got to move. And, you know, it's a burst this way, a burst that way. So if your muscles are cold, that's usually when you can pull something. So you definitely have to stay loose and limber.
Gentry at first, a pretty good lead for the speedster. 1 ball, no strike, the count. And Kinsler takes that pitch in the dirt. It scoots right on by Lobaton. So down to second goes Gentry. And there's the first ball we've seen back to the backstop here with that new wall behind home plate. The brick wall that came into play. And that ball rocketed right straight back by Lobaton. He missed it coming and going.
It won't affect it too much with a man on first base, but it's going to be interesting when there's a man on third base and you see that wild pitch. You really won't know what to do, and you're almost going to have to pause and wait.
Yeah, you've got the angles back there, so you've got to see which part of it it's going to hit and where it's going to go.
Yeah.
He's coming right back at the catcher if he's just going to turn around and catch it.
He didn't want any part of that ball boy.
No, he did not.
He stood up.
Aren't you supposed to drop down and block them?
Yeah.
Cover the important areas and let it go right by him.
Not on that one, thank you. Well, the count's 2-0. Rangers You have a runner in scoring position, and the changeup is outside to Ian. 3 balls and no strikes.
Hey, they're going to have to get someone going in the bullpen because they're not going to let him go too far over 100 pitches. He only got 1 out here, and he's at 91 pitches right now.
More okays the sign. The 3-0 pitch. That's high, ball 4. And the Rangers with 1 out have runners at first and second for Elvis. That is the 6th walk. Make that the 5th walk issued this afternoon. And Jim Hickey out to the mound, and they will indeed get some action going as soon as everybody gets stretched out there in the bullpen.
Did you ever wear one of those hats, Mac? Buzz and I never saw him with the earmuffs on.
We didn't have
Sewed
those
right
either.
onto the hat.
Didn't have those. I think what we used back in the day were the ski masks.
Yeah.
That's practical, but it doesn't have a real good look to
It
it.
is not a good look, but I bet they're warm. I bet they're warm.
I don't think they're worried what it looks like.
Take a look at the Ford leaderboard, the bullpen ERAs in the American League. White Sox and Oakland, the Rangers are 5th at 3.05, and Tampa Bay down there at dead last at a 6.86. The Rangers trying to make Joe Madden get into his bullpen here today. Here's Elvis, and Moore missing badly high and outside. Ball 1. Elvis has walked both times today. Got Gentry at second, Kinsler at first, and Hickey on the phone. Ball 2. Well, Jim Hickey, I'm sure, went out there and suggested whatever mechanical adjustments he usually does to Moore. And some days they'll work, and some days they won't.
Whoever they've called, not throwing yet. Unless he's throwing underneath.
There we go.
Jamie Wright.
And there is strike 1. 2-1 now.
Jamie's going without the long sleeve jersey.
Moore, a long look in. Lobaton finally gets the sign that Moore wants. Inside corner.
I don't know about that one. Saw one called for strike 3 to Adrian that was about 3 or 4 inches inside. The exact same pitch as the one to Adrian. The guy's struggling. You were talking about this yesterday, Buzz. When the guy's struggling to throw strikes, you don't generally get anything close, and that really was a little bit off the plate.
Well, it's 2-2. Hard hit ball, could be a double play. The second back to Duncan, and the around the horn 5-4-3 double play does it for the Rangers in the 5th. No runs a hit and 1 man left. Mac, thanks for joining us. We will look for you right after the ball game on Rangers Live.
All right, guys, have a nice trip.
Rangers baseball on Fox Sports Southwest is brought to you by Mazda. We believe if it's not worth driving, it's not worth building. Sixth inning, Rangers had a golden opportunity to get something done, or at least compared to the other innings today, they had a golden opportunity in the fifth and went by the boards. Hard hit ball turned into a double play, and now Derek Holland back to the hill. Rangers trailing 2-0, and Holland working to Junel Escobar. Escobar 0 for 1, a ground out and a sacrifice bunt. Well hit to center field. Gentry retreating, still going back, reaches up and makes a catch. Boy, it looks like now ball's up in the air to the center or left of center are carrying pretty well. Gentry really had to get going back on that one.
He got a fastball out over the plate a little bit, and yeah, he drove it with some authority.
Gentry able to track that down right on the cinders. So one away, and Ryan Roberts will come up for his third at bat. Roberts 1 for 2. Takes strike one. Roberts out of L.D. Bell High School. Holland's next pitch. Fouled back. That breaking ball hanging up a little bit. And Roberts couldn't quite center it up. Derek to the wind. The 0-2 pitch. A ball and 2 strikes.
Fans recognized where that pitch was. They said, hey, that one was called on Elvis. We want the same one.
You saw Giovanni Soto motioning wanted that ball in the dirt, and then that's exactly where Derek Holland threw it. Soto getting the confidence of pitchers, able to throw that 2-strike breaking ball down in the dirt, knowing that he'll block it. Now the 2-2 pitch. 3-2 to Roberts. Ryan trying to get aboard here in the 6th inning with 1 out. Jose Lobaton, the switch hitting catcher, waiting in the on deck circle. Payoff pitch to right center field. In a hurry is Baker. The ball hangs up for Jeff, able to make the grab, and there are 2 away. Well, race fans, Saturday NASCAR heads to Texas and goes under the lights. It's the first primetime race of the season. Fox Sports exclusive coverage of Sprint Cup Racing Series begins on Saturday at 6 o'clock. Here's Lobaton, and he swings the first pitch and drives one to center. Going back is Gentry, and just as he steps onto the warning track, he makes the grab. So 3 fly balls and 3 outs for Derek Holland. A quick and easy 6 after 5.5, 2-0 Tampa Bay. The Sonic Slam Inning brought to you by Sonic. Today's jackpot is worth $600 and dinner for two at Sonic Drive-In. Today the Rangers are hitting for Joyce George from Bedford. And if a Ranger hits a grand slam during the inning, Joyce George from Bedford will win $25,000. You can register at any participating Sonic restaurant. Well, the Rangers could use something like a slam right about here, trailing 2-0. Only one hit. That was a one-out single by Craig Gentry in the 5th inning.
They had a little something going last inning. Elvis hit that ball hard.
Yep.
Right on the button. Unfortunately, he hit it right to Brian Roberts. Ryan Roberts at third base, and he turned the double play. A well-hit ball.
Well, Beltre will step in. It'll be Beltre, Cruz, and Murphy here in the Sonic Slam inning. Adrian, a strikeout and a walk against Moore. Ball one. Also be interesting to see how long Joe Madden will go. Cesar Ramos up and throwing. That might be the answer to that question. How long that Joe Madden will stick with Matt Moore. Moore right at 100 pitches now.
I think what he's probably doing is hoping for a quick inning, a 7 or 8 pitch inning, and get through 6. Leadoff walk here might answer your question, though.
And Beltre going after the 2-0 pitch, fouls away to the right.
Moore in his first game pitched 6 innings, only gave up 2 hits in that game. Didn't give up a run, struck out 8.
And again, Beltre fouling it off to the right. It is 2-2. Adrian looking to start the inning off by getting aboard. Inning number 6. And he shoots one to Duncan, who knocks it down, recovers, and underhands to Moore covering. Nice play on both ends of that by Duncan and Matt Moore to get over there to cover first. Beltre able to hit that ball sharply going the other way.
Last couple balls hit hard.
Now, one gone. Here is Nelly Cruz, who has grounded out twice today. Change up settles a bit low for ball one. Cruz 6 out of 20 on the homestand. Nelly, as we said before the ball game, been very consistent. He has only gone 1 game hitless so far this year. Rangers playing their 9th game. Two 2-0 pitch. And that is inside. 3 balls and no strikes. Well, it just seems like Moore really hasn't had much of a problem getting the first out of an inning. But from there on, it has been like pulling teeth. No offense meant to Mike Maddox. And ball 4. 1 on and 1 out for David Murphy.
That's got to be it.
Yep.
6 walks. Unfortunately for him, he's only given up 1 hit.
Joe Madden, a very purposeful walk out to the mound, and he's looking out to the bullpen. And Cesar Ramos out there. And he has made the call to the pen. He wants one left-hander to replace another. So with 1 on and 1 out here in the 6th inning, Rangers trailing 2-0. Ramos coming in, and while he does, we will take a timeout. Be right back after this on Fox Sports Southwest.
to highlight another new food item. What do we have today?
That's correct. On a cold day, what's better than a hand-cut steak, Nolan Ryan, all beef? You can see we're grilling them up right here in front of you. I got one here in my hand so you guys can see it. Look at this. We got a little Nolan flag on it, a little Texas flag. Look at these. These are great.
There we
Fresh
go.
steak.
All right. Well, Kurt Diker is still working on the other items you brought to him the other nights. Let's get this one right to him. There you go, Kurt. All for you, big guy.
That's the best item I've seen yet. Why is everybody picking on Kurt?
I don't know.
Well, I guess because
I
guess because they think Stryker can really eat.
Cesar Ramos in his 6th ball game of the year already. Left-hander has really been gone to a lot by Joe Madden. He's asked here to get David Murphy and falls behind 2 balls and no strikes. Murphy, a fly ball to left and a pop out to short. 1 on, 1 out. Playing the bottom of the 6th inning. Rangers trailing 2-0. Rip and a miss, and it's 2-1. Tanner Shepard's just a hop, skip, and a jump from starting to get ready.
Tanner's from California. He probably hasn't played on many days like this.
Looper is left center. It's going to fall for a base hit. Stopping at second is Nelly Cruz, and David Murphy slapping one into left field for a 1-out single. Rangers have the tying runs aboard, and Jeff Baker coming up.
Rangers starting to get some opportunities. They had a couple of men on last inning. Elvis hit the ball hard. Unfortunately, it was right at the third baseman. Got a couple of men on now. Chance for Jeff Baker. Get his first hit of the season and drive in a run. Rangers haven't done a lot offensively, but it's only a 2-0 ball game. Won't take much to get right back in this game.
Baker a walk and a strikeout. Both of those at bats, of course, against Matt Moore. Yeah, this is a good illustration that when Ron Washington talks about what you want your starting pitcher to do, give you an opportunity to win. And what Derek Holland has done, even though he's given up a couple of runs, he's given the Rangers an opportunity to be close to score-wise to Tampa Bay here in the latter stages of the game. He mentions it's only a 2-0 game, and that's giving your team an opportunity to win. Lobaton and Ramos having a little chat out there. That last pitch almost getting away from Lobaton. Kyle Farnsworth now up and throwing. Jamie Wright was up last inning, but this inning it is Farnsworth who answers the call. One ball, no strikes. And make that 2-0.
Good hitting count right here.
Low.
That outfield is pretty shallow too. Really shallow in left field for a right-hand hitter. Shallow in center field. Get it up in the air a little bit. A great chance to drive in 2 runs right here.
Infield, a couple of steps around to the left for Baker.
One thing we've noticed, Buzz, the last couple of nights, that I don't think there's many other outfields that play more shallow than the Rays play.
Not at every position. You know, you see some guys play the off outfielder shallow, but yeah, I agree with you. And those are extremely shallow positions. 3 balls, no strikes, the count to Baker. 2 on, 1 out. Rangers trying to climb back in this contest. And ball 4. That will load him up for Mitch Baldwin. That's not a happy manager. Joe Madden looking on, and Jim Hickey going to go out and try to work some of his pitching coach magic on Cesar Ramos. And again, this is the Sonic Slam inning.
Hello.
And we're talking about $25,000 on the line here. That's probably what they're talking about out there on the mound.
I don't think there's any doubt.
Yeah.
be careful. This is the Sonic inning.
That's right. And we know what Mitch can do in this ballpark with the Sonic Slam inning.
He's hit a couple of home runs this year. Good thing Hickey's problem trying to impart on Ramos is the importance of throwing a strike.
And that conference concluded. Mitch with one official Grand Slam and one unofficial Grand Slam.
Remember that off Gio Gonzalez.
Yeah.
Got rained out.
We've got Nelly Cruz over at third base, David Murphy at second, and Jeff Baker at first base here in the 6th inning. Mitch has struck out twice today. First time he's faced Ramos. Takes low for ball 1.
After the walk to Baker and the first pitch ball, you really have to, if you're going to swing, you have to make sure you get your pitch. Otherwise, you have to make him throw a strike right here.
Ramos, the 28-year-old out of the Los Angeles area. And a check swing. It's just a bit low. 2 balls and no strikes.
One of those borderline pitches. Ramos wanted it, but he didn't get it. Borderline pitch. That one went Mitch's way.
Ramos has thrown 10 pitches. 8 of them have missed the strike zone. 2-0. Hard hit ground ball to second for 1. Back to first, not in time. Moreland with the double clutch by Escobar. And now they're going to call him out because sliding into second, Baker was said to have interfered with Ramos. He went too far out of sliding toward the bag at second, so he's going to be ruled a double play. And Marty Foster, who was behind the plate for the difficult call that ended the first game here, making a critical call, ruling a double play on sliding away from the bag against Baker.
Well, the rule is you've got to be able to touch the bag where you are. And I got to go with Marty Foster on that one. He's way out of the baseline and reached up with his arm. I can't argue the call.
So the Rangers can't do anything with a bases loaded opportunity. We'll go to the 7th. 2-1, 2-0 Tampa. Our forward game summary. 38 degrees first pitch here this afternoon. Rangers had some problems with the double play ball. They haven't had many opportunities, to be quite honest, scoring today, but double plays have ended both the chances they've had. Ian Kinsler going down to a knee to take care of that Kelly Johnson sharply hit ground ball. That's out number 1.
We're going to show the play where Jeff was called for interference. The rule is you can slide away from the bag to break up a double play as long as you can reach back and touch the bag, and that's kind of borderline territory. You know, the other thing that you might find fault with is bringing up your left arm like that and making contact with the fielder. Ron Washington argued the call. Interesting to see what Ron thought after he saw the replay. Borderline call, but tough to argue that call. And both double plays, Elvis's and Mitch's. Both balls were hit hard.
Yep.
First and second, when Elvis hit the ball right to the third baseman. Mitch has got a 2-0 count. He's looking fastball, bases loaded, chance to, you know, get right back in the ball game. He hit the ball hard. He just hit it right at the second baseman.
1-1 pitch to Desmond Jennings. Backhand by Andrews. Strong throw, and he got him. That's out number 2.
91 pitches for Derek. His first start, he pitched 7 innings, gave up 6 hits, 2 runs, a walk, and 5 strikeouts. Got a no decision in that game. He's got a similar game going today. A couple more walks, a couple less strikeouts, a couple fewer hits too. He's only given up 4 hits today. Tanner Shepard's getting loose out in the bullpen.
Here's Sean Rodriguez, who is 0 for 2 with a walk. Rodriguez, a fly out and a ground out today. A walk. You see, he came back in the 3rd inning. Off speed for a strike, and the count is even at 1-1. Yeah, Holland's performance kind of gotten lost. He's only given up 4 hits in 6 2/3. And that one popped up. That stays in the ballpark. That'll be out number 3. Giovanni Soto puts it away. A 1-2-3 inning. That is 7 straight now sent down by Holland. He's through 7. It's stretch time at the ballpark. Rangers trailing by 2 on Fox Sports Southwest. Another left-hander. The last left-hander that's available to Joe Madden today, as Jake McGee is now taking over on the mound. He will work in the 7th inning. Soto, Gentry, and Kinsler, the first 3 Rangers, due up in this frame. And Derek Holland, another strong outing here this afternoon, and he has gone through 7. Now McGee will come in to start the 7th for Tampa Bay.
It looked like the Rangers might have had Cesar Ramos on the ropes last inning. Got a hit and a walk to load the bases. He made a pitch and got the double play. Now hard throwing Jake McGee. Fastball reaches the mid-90s. Strong left-hander out in Tampa Bay bullpen.
Giovanni Soto stepping to the plate. Soto 0 for 2. A fly ball to right and a line drive to left. McGee worked the last night's ball game, a 1/3 of an inning, gave up a base hit. Left-hander goes to work, fires, strike one. McGee back to the plate. Deals strike two to Soto. Giovanni and the rest of the Rangers on this next road trip, going back to Soto's former home in Chicago and the north side with the Cubs. Ball and 2 strikes. Giovanni came over from the Cubs in that deadline trade last year, 31st of July. Rangers will leave after the ball game this afternoon, head up to Seattle for 4 games. And then after an off day next Monday, they will take on the Cubs in Wrigley for 3 games. A swinging strike 3, good fastball at 96 miles an hour by McGee. Time for a Mazda game break. Once again, here's John Radigan. All right, John, thank you. Here the Rangers are trailing 2-0. Greg Gentry, the hitter, with 1 out, bases empty here in the 7th inning. McGee missing low and inside. Gentry had the first hit of the game off Matt Moore, the Rays starter, in the 5th inning. Gentry got as far as second base, but double play ended that threat, and then again in the next inning, in the 6th. Rangers had the bases loaded with 1 out, and a hard hit double play grounder ended that threat. A ball and a strike to count as McGee gets ready. Ball 2. In case you missed it earlier, the announcement today that Matt Harrison had been put on the 15-day disabled list and is backdated to last Saturday. So taking his spot in the rotation for tomorrow night's start in Seattle will be Justin Grimm, called up from AAA Round Rock. There's ball 3 in the dirt. Gentry now trying to get aboard with 1 out. Top of the order, Ian Kinsler, waiting in the on-deck circle. So tomorrow night, Justin Grimm and Felix Hernandez. Gets that 4-game set against the Mariners kicked off. Yu Darvish will be on Friday. Hisashi Iwakuma will be his mount opponent. Strike hits the outside corner. The count is filled to Craig Gentry. And the payoff pitch on the way. High, ball 4. Well, the 1-out walk. Gentry aboard for the 2nd time this afternoon. The Rangers have had 8 walks today.
Yeah, not very often when you see 8 walks and no runs. But the one thing that the Rays have done is they've kept them from getting base hits. They've only had 2 singles. It's time to get some opportunities, though, here late in the game. Yeah, good fastball hitter up there right now. You got a great fastball pitcher out on the mound. McGee's fastball 94, 95, sometimes a little higher than that.
Ian steps in 0 for 2 with a walk. Walked back in the 5th inning. Other than that, grounded out and struck out. Gentry with good speed at first, and McGee comes to the plate with strike 1. Ian checking with Gary Pettis, third base coach. Gary going through that series of signs for both Gentry, the runner at first, and Kinsler, the hitter. Now the 0-1 pitch. That will even the count. Joe Madden has watched his ball club went off to a slow start this year. Rays come in at 3-5 in their first 8 ball games. They are just starting a long road trip, first of the year. There's ball 2. And now Hickey going out to the mound very quickly. He's had to make that trek a little more often than he would prefer to have gone out there today. Advanced Natural Balance and Petco present Bark in the Park. That's coming up on Thursday, May 2nd. Rangers host the White Sox for a 7:05 game. Special tickets are available in a designated area, so you can bring your dog to the game, but advanced registration is required. For complete details and to register, go to TexasRangers.com/barkinthepark. 2 balls, 1 strike to count. Kinsler waiting. Gentry establishing his lead at first base. McGee is set. And ball 3 misses low and inside. Patience has been a big part of the Ranger offense today. That's been about all of it. Only 2 hits. Greg Gentry walked with 1 out. He's at first, and Ian Kinsler has a count of 3-1. Hits this one well to right center field. Jennings able to get into the alley and make the grab, and back to first goes Gentry for out number 2. So Kinsler put some pretty good wood on it. Didn't quite get that ball where he needed to. And that was one of the times the outfield was playing at a more normal depth. They were trying to stop the potential for a double, and that paid off for them. So jig on, here's Elvis. Andrus 0 for 1. Grounded into a double play in the 5th inning. That was with runners at first and second. Other 2 times up, Elvis walked this afternoon. There goes Gentry. The throw from the knees by Lobaton is into center field. Gentry will stay there as Jennings able to back it up relatively quickly.
Craig had a great jump. McGee took a little time, and Craig was gone on first movement, stole the base easy. Lobaton knew he had no chance to throw him out. He just threw it from his knees and basically just launched it into center field.
It would have been a lot wiser for Lobaton just to stick it in his pocket.
Yeah, that's a silly throw. Well, you got a man in scoring position, a 2-run game. You get a little blooper right here, make it a 1-run game. Talked about Elvis and how many balls he's hit hard this year. Another one today, that double play was a smash right at the 3rd baseman. There's a number of balls right on the button that have been caught this year. Well, he's due for a blooper.
Rangers 0 for 5 today. That average with runners in scoring position, just a bit over the 250 mark. Elvis is swing and a miss. 1 ball and 1 strike. I was asking Tim Welke, the home plate umpire, would that have been a called strike? And Welke indicating that it probably would not have. Gentry the lead from second at the bottom of your screen. And the 1-1. 2 balls and a strike. Noel Peralta, throwing right-hander out of their Tampa Bay bullpen. McGee twirling that ball behind his back as he takes the side. Now the left-hander's ready. The 2-1 pitch. 2-2. That was a pained expression on his face at the call.
Well, this has not always been called a strike today. Borderline pitch. Well, of course, of a game, you're going to have 20 pitches aside that are right on the corners, right on the borderline, and it's impossible for an umpire to get every one of them right.
Ball shot foul off Elvis's bat to the right.
You got different pitchers, lefties, righties. Some balls sink, some balls cut. And you're talking a matter of inches, whether they're a little low, a little outside. And it's a very difficult job in the big leagues to umpire a game. It's a cold day for him too. And you have to have some margin for error when you're talking about a half an inch or an inch, whether it's high or low or outside or right on the corner. I think as a hitter, you just hope that the call doesn't come with 2 strikes, because you've always got one left.
Sure. McGee okays the sign. The left-hander's ready. Again, the 2-2, and again fouled off. Yeah, and you hope that it doesn't change. The consistency of the call doesn't change throughout the ballgame. Whether a pitch is going to be a strike in the first inning, you hope that same pitch is a strike in the 8th inning.
Yeah.
Or close to it. Jose Lobaton going out to the mound to talk to Jake McGee. Elvis has had a couple of fouls on pretty good rips on the 2-2 pitch. Now everybody ready? We'll see what they come up with now. Gentry, the runner at second, 2 outs in the Rangers' 7th. Oh, that's going to hurt. Chopped right down on his left foot. Elvis doing that foul tip 2-step. Not a good day for that to happen either, huh, Tom?
Not very good at all. No day is good for that.
Yeah.
It's even worse when you're cold, though.
Yeah.
Just trying to hope the pain goes away so you can get back in there and swing, but you don't want to go up there with all you can think about is your throbbing foot, trying to face a guy throwing 95 miles an hour. That takes all the concentration you can get just to be able to hit him without any pain in your foot like that.
So Elvis trying to get it together mentally before he steps back into that box. Now he is ready, and McGee is studying the signs. Gentry a big lead at second base. And Elvis shooting one to right, but he a little bit late pulling the trigger, and that ball ends up 10 rows deep.
Yeah, Elvis is he's in survival mode right here. You got a guy throwing 96 miles an hour. He's just trying to make some contact, put the ball in play, find a hole. He's fouled off three tough fastballs. Not much in the way of anything in the middle of the plate. Most of it's in, nothing in around the middle of the plate. That's what you're hoping for, that he gets one right over the middle of the plate.
We'll see what pitch number 9 is going to be. Now ball to third. Roberts there. Well, McGee wins that battle as Elvis shot down, and the Rangers strand another runner. They've left 8 this afternoon. We're going to the 8th inning in Arlington. It's the Rays 2, the Rangers nothing on Fox Sports Southwest. AT&T Twitter poll. What folks thought about the Twitter question this afternoon. Most postseason wins in Ranger history. 69% of the folks said it was Colby Lewis. And they would be correct. Colby, 4 postseason wins, most in Ranger history, dating back to 2010. Evan Longoria starting things off for the Rays here in the 8th inning. And Derek Holland back out to the hill. He is spinning himself a dandy, but he's trailing 2-0. One of those runs driven in by Longoria on a sacrifice fly his last time up. A ball and a strike. Holland to the wind, the 1-1. 2-1 now. And Tanner Shepard's up as he was last inning. And he would be just about ready. Look down the line to Zobrist, a switch hitter. Shelley Duncan, right-handed hitter. It would probably be for Shelley Duncan that they would want Shepards. But right now, Holland falling behind 3-1 to Longoria. That fills the count. Derek this afternoon with 3 walks, and they all came in the 3rd inning. Ended up walking the bases full and gave up the first run of the game. Longoria sharply hit ground ball. Beltre right on the line behind 3rd. Guns him down, 1 away. Nice play by Adrian, having to scramble to his feet.
Good positioning, too. Right on the line. Fairly hard hit ball. A lot of times that's a double down the line, but not when he's positioned right on the line like that.
Oh, 1 away, and now Ben Zobrist will come to the plate. Zobrist 1 for 3. Had a double to lead off the 2nd inning. Very good job of pitching that frame by Holland. He stranded him. Zobrist then got the first RBI for Tampa this afternoon in the 3rd inning. On a fielder's choice ground out with the bases loaded. And in the 5th inning, Zobrist reached on an error. The 1-1 pitch. Going to be a tough play for Holland. He's just going to pick it up and walk back to the hill. Infield single for Ben Zobrist. And disgusted, Derek Holland just fires the ball back to the Ranger dugout. So Zobrist was just the 5th hit of the afternoon against Holland. Mike Maddox and Ron Washington. Mike with that pitch count clicker on his left hand. Pitch to Duncan, low and inside. The off-speed pitch missed. 1 ball and no strikes. Duncan, an infield single, and also lined to left and struck out. Holland agrees with the sign. And Duncan hits one high in the air, shallow center field. Andrews backpedaling, and Elvis makes the catch right in front of Craig Gentry, and that's out number 2. Back to first goes Zobrist, and it will bring up Janelle Escobar. Derek really grinding out there today. He's done a very, very good job keeping the Rays at bay. 105 pitches. Escobar, a sacrifice bunt, 0 for 2 other than that. And Holland driving Zobrist back with a soft toss. Good fastball for strike one.
It's been a good solid game for Derek. 5 hits, 2 runs, pitching into the 8th inning early in the season like this. 2 good starts. 7 innings and possibly 8 innings today. Pretty good early in the season like this.
Check swing, and that pitch just darting out of the strike zone low. 1 ball and 1 strike. Zobrist, the runner at first. The Ranger infield maybe a step around to the left for Escobar, the right-handed hitter. And a good fastball nips the inside corner. It's 1-2. And that's one of those pitches that's been pretty much a strike all day right there.
Seen that called several times.
Yeah. Odd, because most umpires won't give you the inside pitch because they're sitting on that corner to a hitter, and they just don't give you much when it's off the plate inside. But Jim Wilkie is going against that grain, giving you a couple of inches inside. Two balls and 2 strikes to Escobar. The pitch that Derek Holland would like to get Escobar to put in play so he wouldn't go to 3-2. Check swing. Did he go? Yes, he did. The strikeout for Holland. Escobar is gone. And Zobrist left stranded on the base hit. 7.5 in the books. It's the Rays 2, the Rangers nothing on Fox Sports Southwest. Reverse replay and a big moment in the game. 6th inning, bases loaded, and a double play is called. It wasn't completed, but it was called as Jeff Baker went out of his way, according to the second base umpire Marty Foster, to get at the shortstop, Junel Escobar. A critical play as far as the Rangers were concerned. That took a run off the board. A run would have scored on that play, and what Foster ruled was that Baker was out for basically interfering with the throw to first base. So it's a 2-0 lead as Joel Peralta comes on to face the Rangers in the 8th inning. Adrian Beltre will start things off against the veteran right-hander. Ball 1. Beltre 0 for 2 with a walk today. Peralta's 1-0 pitch. That evens the count. Peralta, 37 years old, out of the Dominican Republic. Signed as a free agent with Tampa Bay back in the offseason before the 2011 campaign. Check swing. He went around. It is 1-2. That
was close. Sometimes you get that call, sometimes you won't, but you can't argue it once he called it a strike.
Peralta ready. And Beltre loops one to right field. That is going to be caught by a second baseman Johnson on a hop. But he was so far in right field he couldn't gather himself to get Beltre at first. Adrian aboard with a leadoff single.
Now, with his momentum taking him toward the foul line, he might have had time. You're right, he just couldn't get turned around to make the throw. Adrian gets jammed on that breaking ball. A little lob shot to the green. Just couldn't get anything on his throw. And, you know, in this kind of a game, all you need is a base runner with all these guys in the Ranger lineup that can hit the ball out of the ballpark, and all of a sudden you can turn what's been a Tampa Bay lead for the whole game into a tie ball game. Got the right guy up there now.
Well, Nelly Cruz walked his last time up. He is 0 for 2 to pitch with. 1 for 4 lifetime against Peralta. That fastball up and in to Cruz. Nelson today, aside from the walk, is grounded out twice. Peralta, the 4th pitcher used this afternoon by the Tampa Bay Rays. A 1-0 pitch. Oh, he was right on that hanging breaking ball and just fouled it straight back.
That's not the pitch you're trying to throw in a 2-run game, that's for sure.
A ball and a strike with Beltre at first. Cruz at the plate. Rangers have made noise in each of the last 3 innings and have yet to break through. A rip and a miss on the fastball. It's 1-2. New first baseman, as you can see, for Tampa Bay. That's James Loney, who came into the ballgame to take over for Shelley Duncan. Peralta okays the sign. The right-hander checks Beltre. Cruz to right field. Hit pretty well. Going back is Zobrist. He has it measured just in front of the warning track and makes the catch.
Well, there's some nights in the summertime where that might do some damage, but the wind's not really blowing normally today. It's cold out. That ball just kind of hung up there at the warning track.
Now, Cruz hit it well, but came up about 15 feet short. And now with 1 out, David Murphy will step to the plate. Murphy is 1 for 3. Singled his last time up. 0-1 as the breaking ball bends over. 1 out of 5. That won a home run against Peralta for David Murphy. Peralta to the plate. Murphy pulls one down the right field line. It's a fair ball headed to the corner. Zobrist plays the carom well. They will hold Beltre at third on a double from David Murphy. And the Rangers have runners at second and third and 1 out.
You're right, Buzz. 4 straight innings where the Rangers have had some things going right here. Look out. pinch hitter. Looks like, who's that? Martin.
Leonis Martin.
Warming up with the bat. Got a lefty up there. No lefties left in the bullpen. They've used Ramos. They've used McGee. And Peralta's not the kind of guy that Joe Madden would replace anyway. He's one of the guys that sets up the games for Fernando Rodney. Rangers with a tying run now at second base.
So Martin coming off the bench. The Rays now with runners at second and third. Going to play the corner fielders up. And now they're going to back up a little bit on the right side. Middle of the infield, about halfway. And now they're going to back up. That was going to be a little strange with a 2-run lead that they'd play anything less than all the way back. So here's Martin hitting 188. Got a big rip on the first pitch. It is strike one. Leonis. Outstanding game last night. Scored 3 runs. And a walk and a couple of hits. 2 out of 3 in that contest. Up there now with a chance to make a big difference in this game. Got Beltre at third. David Murphy in the center of your screen out there at second. Joel Peralta sets at the belt, and the 0-1 pitch. In the air, not very deep out into right field. Zobrist making the call. Tagging at third is Beltre. Here he comes. Here comes the throw. The tag. He is out at the plate. Zobrist shooting down Beltre. And yet another Ranger threat is nullified by Tampa Bay. So Zobrist throwing out Beltre at home plate, and the Rangers come up empty. No runs on 2 hits and 1 left. We're going to the ninth. 2-0 Tampa Bay on Fox Sports Southwest. One of those days where things just haven't gone their way. Had some difficult times, and Tanner Shepard's out there to try and get the Rays in the ninth, give the Rangers one more opportunity. Comes into the ball game with the club trailing 2-0, and he's been very, very good in the early going this year.
You know, yesterday, Buzz, it seemed like every time the Rangers put the ball in play, they moved a runner, scored a run, infield hits, had a little help from defensively from the Rays last night. Tonight, this afternoon, just the opposite. A lot of opportunities. Some balls hit hard right at people, and then a great throw by Zobrist to nail a runner at the plate. Been a lot tougher to score today.
A ball and a strike to count. Ryan Roberts starting things off. Bottom third of the Rays order facing Tanner Shepard here in the ninth inning. 2-1 the count. Derek Holland this afternoon, outstanding. 8 innings of work, 2 runs, earned runs on 5 hits, 3 walks, 4 strikeouts. And ball 3 misses. Shepard's falling behind to Ryan Roberts. Roberts 1 for 3 today. To center field, Gentry coming in on the ball. He started off to his right and realized it wasn't hit all that well. That's out number 1. Now for more on what's coming up on the Esurance Rangers Live postgame show, let's send it to John Radigan.
Yeah, Buzz, out here in one of the most popular places in the ballpark today, the Captain Morgan Club, very busy. There's a lot of heat in here, and that's certainly one of the reasons. After the game, there will be lots of people and lots of topics to talk about. I'll be here with Mark McLemore. We'll get post-game reaction, analysis to this game, and hopefully one of those topics, guys, will be that 9th-inning comeback the Rangers mount.
All right, John, thank you. Yeah, we're looking forward to talking about that. Jose Lobaton, the catcher. First ball swinging, skies to Gentry, and very quickly there are 2 outs for Tanner Shepard. In case you noticed on the shot there, as the ball was going up in the air off the bat of Lobaton, a new right fielder, and that is Leonis Martin, who had pinch hit, stayed in the ball game, taken over in right field, and there is Fernando Rodney, closer for the Rays, getting loose in the bullpen. Kelly Johnson, the hitter. Ball 1. Johnson, a couple of ground balls. 0 for 2. He's walked and scored also. And that pitch is a little bit low. It's 2-0. Pulled on the ground. Kinsler dives and can't come up with it into right field. Now Kelly Johnson aboard with a 2-out single, and that'll get the Rays back to the top of their order for Desmond Jennings. Just the 6th hit of the afternoon for Tampa Bay. Ian coming up maybe 2 glove lengths short of corralling that. Kelly Johnson with good speed at first, so Shepard will drive him back. Desmond Jennings at the plate. He's doubled in 4 trips. There goes Johnson. The pitch is a strike. The throw to second, they got it. Good quick throw by Soto right on the money. And Johnson is shot down. No runs, 1 hit, nobody left. Rangers coming up one more time, trailing by 2. Southwest is brought to you by Ford. Take the EcoBoost Challenge at your Texas Ford dealer. Ford is the best in Texas. And by the wireless receiver only from AT&T Uverse. Visit AT&T.com/freeyourtv. Rethink possible. Well, the afternoon got off to a late start, about an hour and a half rain delay at the beginning of things here today, and it's been a cool and cloudy day. Cool in that 38 degrees the first pitch, and Rangers had some opportunities to heat things up. Elvis's double play ground ball in the 5th inning took care of the first potential thing. In the 6th inning, Jeff Baker called for interference on the double play, and then Ben Zobrist on a sacrifice fly opportunity able to shoot down Adrian Beltre. And the Raleigh Caps are in evidence at Rangers ballpark here this afternoon. And they need it because the Rangers need to, and they're going to have to do it against a new battery. Jose Molina is behind the plate, and the man in your picture, Fernando Rodney, is on the hill trying to close things out.
Well, Rodney had kind of a historical year last year for relievers with at least 50 innings. He set the all-time major league record for ERA, surpassed Dennis Eckersley. That's how good he was last year. Gave up 1 run in his last 45 innings. He was 48 out of 50 in save opportunities. He was the best closer in baseball last year. And that season that he had last year was one of the best seasons a closer has ever had. 36 years old. Pitching better now than he ever has. Always had a great fastball, mid-90s fastball, and excellent changeup. Just a matter of commanding it where he wants to. And evidently he learned how to do that consistently last year.
And Mitch Moreland starting things off. There's that changeup that floats outside for ball 1. Moreland, as you saw, has had some pretty good success, 2 for 4 against Rodney.
Rodney gave up 5 runs last year. He's given up 3 runs already this year.
Well, the Rangers today, 8 walks, and it would be the most in a game without scoring. Most so far in Ranger history is 7 in a game in which they didn't score. But they'd like to wipe that qualifier out of the books. You got Moreland starting off, a count of 1 ball and 1 strike. Rodney back to him. Fastball spins him around, and it's 2-1. Looking down into the on-deck circle. Next scheduled hitter, Giovanni Soto, has been called back. And A.J. Pierzynski has grabbed a bat and a helmet. He's come out to be hit next. 2-1. Line drive, right field. Zobrist will have to play it on a hop. Well, he was coming in and then had second thoughts, and probably a pretty smart decision. And a leadoff single from Mitch Moreland. He is aboard, and here comes A.J.
The Rangers are keeping the pressure on for the last 5 innings. Got a high fastball to hit. Not the 95 or 96 mile an hour fastball. I think it was 92 miles an hour. The Dominican Republic won the World Baseball Classic. They played 8 games. Rodney saved 7 of them and got the last out in the 8th game. So he had a busy spring training.
Well, here's Pierzynski, and he shoots the first pitch foul back to the screen. It is 0-1. A.J. coming off the bench as the pinch hitter. 346 the average. Home run and 3 driven in. 4-game hitting streak for Pierzynski. To left field. Rodriguez toward the line.
That's
not Rodriguez. That's Sam Fulda. Yeah, Sam Fulda in left field now. The defensive changes for the Rays. Pierzynski flies out, 1 away, and Craig Gentry now will hit. Gentry has been aboard twice, as you will see, with a single and a walk today. He's 1 for 2. Also had a stolen base and takes a strike from Rodney. Rays 2 runs on 6 hits. Rangers no runs on 5 hits. Texas committing the only error of the afternoon. They have Moreland at first base, and Gentry takes the one outside. It's 1 ball and 1 strike. Well, if you can get Craig on, then you've got the tying runs aboard with the top of the order coming up. Ian Kinsler getting ready in the on-deck circle. And ball 2 misses. As you mentioned, Tom, the one thing that Rodney has had trouble with over the years was his ability to throw consistent strikes. But Joe Madden and company found a way to get him to do it. And he was one of the best. But there's always a chance to revert every once in a while. Rangers would not mind that. 2-2 the count to Gentry. Craig having a little talk with himself. Now back in the batter's box. The 2-2 pitch. Got him swinging. Devastating changeup. And Rodney gets the strikeout, and the Rangers now down to their last out. That'll be up to Ian Kinsler if we are to continue here this afternoon. Ian 0 for 3. Walked back in the 5th. Other than that is flied out, grounded out, and struck out today. First pitch to him on the outside corner. Now AT&T will tell you about tomorrow's telecast. It'll be in the Great Northwest, Rangers and the Mariners tomorrow night, 9 o'clock right here on Fox Sports Southwest. Justin Grimm and Felix Hernandez. Start of a 4-game series against the Mariners. See what their new power-laden lineup looks like, at least according to spring training stats. The Mariners leading the world in home runs down there. The 1-1 pitch. And it's a ball and 2 strikes. Moreland at first, establishing his lead. Rodney ready. 1-2 pitch on the way. Chopper to third, right behind the bag, going to second, and just in time for the out. Moreland sliding hard into second, and Fernando Rodney telling you that he got the job done. The Rays win the final game of this 3-game series, the final this afternoon. Tampa Bay 2 and Texas nothing. And Matt Moore the win. He is now 2-0. Fernando Rodney the save, and taking the loss despite pitching extremely well is Derek Holland. So the Rangers finished the homestand at 4-2. They have still won all 3 of the series they have played so far this year. And they will head up to Seattle to begin a 4-game series tomorrow night. We'll be back to wrap things up right after this. The Rays win 2-0 on Fox Sports Southwest.